Hey, y'all, hey! It's another episode of the Raising Sons podcast. I want to share two things with you before I get into this week's episode. One, I want to say thank you for everyone who tunes in and listens. Raising Sons is officially in the top 100 podcast on Apple. I am more than excited, and I just wanted to thank you all for listening, for sharing, for subscribing. All right, so on today's episode, we are talking about the mom-son connection. And as you know, that connection, sometimes it doesn't break. Sometimes you start off with a connection early on, and I'm talking about the emotional connection where your son feels comfortable talking to you and you are his safe space. But sometimes that connection wanes as your son gets older. And so one of the things that I know sometimes as moms, we kind of forget to continue to engage our sons in the emotional aspects of who they are. And I'm saying that for myself. So early on, I was really good about talking to my sons about their feelings and naming those feelings and being able to put a word to a feeling. And some kind of way, as life happens, I just stopped doing it as consistently. And so a few weeks ago, my son and I were talking, and I asked him, he was describing a situation, and I said, well, tell me how you feel about it. And he was on a long pause, which I was like, okay, he's processing, which I did say, are you processing or what's happening? And he was like, I'm trying to find the word. And I was like, oh my gosh, I have not been doing a good job. So based on that, I am doing a mom-son 21-day connection challenge, right? May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and our sons need to be aware of how they're feeling. They need to have the words. They need to have the vocabulary, the language, so that they don't become men who don't have the language to talk about how they're feeling and what's going on. So I am doing a 21-day challenge. I'll tell you more about that later. I recognized that my son did not have, he couldn't come up with the word to describe how he was feeling. And I was like, oh my gosh. After I sat with it for a little while, I was like, it's repetition. It's so important for repetition in everything, right? And so I was like, I fell off with the repetition, and hence he has now, kind of forgotten some of the words, some of the vocabulary used to describe how he feels. I was like, okay, no, this cannot happen. So hence the 21-day mom-son connection challenge. So it's not just for you, it is for me too. My sons and I will be doing it as well. And I'm going to try to see if I can get my husband on board, because he doesn't always have the words to describe how he's feeling either. And so that is so important that our sons have the vocabulary to describe how they're feeling, because it can be difficult when you're trying to articulate a situation or something that's happened and how you feel and you don't have the language for it. It can be frustrating not only for, your son that's trying to communicate, but it can be extremely frustrating for the person that is trying to help or understand or they're communicating with. So it's important that we do this in repetition. We consistently give them words. If you find yourself, having the same or similar issue, we doing this mom-son connection challenge, and you may find it a help for yourself too, because we all know the basic emotions. We know sad, we know angry, we might know pissed off, we know frustrated, we know happy. But then when you start getting beyond that, we may know like disappointed or discouraged. We may be able to name those things, but when it goes, beyond those things, and there are feelings that are beyond those, sometimes we just don't have the language for it. And so this will be an activity or exercise or reminder for not only your sons, but for you as well. I think it's super important. May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and it's important that we are able to express how we feel, that we are teaching our sons that it is okay for them to express how they feel, because statistics show that starting at the age of 12, boys start to keep things to themselves because they've picked up where society says, I'm a boy and I need to figure this out on my own and I'm not going to voice it. But on the reverse side of that, we have more boys in teenhood, even I would say middle school, that are struggling emotionally because for those reasons. And so we want to give them the vocabulary, we want to give them the language, we want to give them the space, we want to curate a space for them to be able to express how they're feeling. And so the connection challenge is going to provide you with activities that you can do with your son. Trust me, they're not super long activities. They are short activities that you can do, you know, in the car, on the way to school, at night, or they're short, but they are activities that you can do with your son. Maybe the connection hasn't waned. Maybe it's good, but maybe this will just help to enhance the connection. Or maybe you're finding out that we are not connecting like we used to. I don't know what he's thinking. I don't know what he's feeling. And this will kind of bring you guys back together. This episode is short and sweet because it's all about us connecting. I hope you take me up on doing the mom-son connection challenge, that you get involved, that you join the private group, that you are engaged. And if you have a son struggles with him emotionally, academically, behaviorally, and you need some support and strategy, click the link to the parent navigation sessions. These sessions were created for you to get the support, the strategy, the help that you need. All right, y'all, until next time.